we go. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. I gotta be honest with you. That game drove me nuts. I cannot believe the Buccaneers lost that game. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Tough one. Man, that was an absolute laser from Cooch, wasn't it? What a crazy game. The Bulls are bowl-bound for the third season in a row. An incredible performance. And listen, we know the competition. They did what they had to do. No more silver linings. No more moral victories. It was put up or shut up time. And boy, did they rise to the occasion. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. We are an hour earlier. I tried to warn you guys the last couple of days. This is what we were going to do. It is a power hour live here from USF. We are at the baseball and softball stadium because we have media day for baseball and softball today. So I am here in the booth where I've done many of radio broadcasts here with our good pal Derek Sharp. He was at USF last night, women's basketball. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. What a crazy game last night. It was not good for 3.5 quarters, but they finished strong. They came away with the dub. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. We'll be on from 11 to 12 right here from the radio booth live here at USF. Let me see if I can turn around and see. There we go. Some of the guys on the field as we get ready for the season. Ow. It'll be here before you know it. This is how we roll here, folks. This is how we roll. Okay. We good? You see I got my little live from USF thing here. I did that for the first time. That's pretty cool, huh? All right. Power hour today. You know, when we do a power hour, we touch on a bunch of topics. So that's what we're going to do. Make sure first you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every single day at noon. We always want to hear from you. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen, just like our guy Rolly. Power Hour, let's go. And if you want to join in on the conversation, here is the link right there in the chat. You can join on your phone. You can join on your laptop. StreamYard.com/656CPFZVW2. So Eric Erlinson usually joins us on Wednesday. He's at practice right now, so he's not going to be joining us today. He'll join us on Friday. So Friday we'll talk Double E. Tomorrow, our standard schedule on a Thursday, we will be live at Benchmark International Arena. Not 100% sure if I'll be at the game tomorrow night, because we're supposed to have baseball practice, but because of some of the inclement weather, because of how cold it is. Hold on. Wow, just got the text here. We'll see. Again, that's exactly what happened. Practice got canceled last night because of how cold it was. But I don't think they're going to practice tonight. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to figure that out later on today. I have softball tonight, so I'm definitely going to be playing. That's the way it goes. And we'll see about tomorrow night, because if our practice gets canceled tomorrow night, I'm hoping that it gets canceled in time so I can get to the Lightning game, because I want to be there. But I'll definitely be there for morning skate tomorrow before their game, and then, of course, the Stadium Series on Sunday. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be a cold one. We'll talk about the outdoor game and how frigid it is here in the Tampa Bay area. I know people that are coming from out of town to celebrate and hang out for Gasparilla. They're not too thrilled, but just the way it goes. That is the way it goes. Alec Vegas here. Good freezing morning. LOL. Stay nice and warm in Tampa, Florida. Never thought I would say that. You're the best. Thank you, Alec. And man, I can't say enough nice things about everybody that has supported me. And we got to continue to do that, man. We got to make sure that we continue to support, whether it's the super chat, everybody donating $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, whatever it takes. And then our partners. I usually on this side. It's on this side today. Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, for all your residential and commercial needs. 813-244-0956. And then, of course, EverHealth Injury Report with Dr. Carlos Rodriguez tomorrow at 12:30 right here on the Recher podcast, again, live from Benchmark International Arena. So, yeah, That's what we're doing. Again, we're here at USF today, right here in the radio booth of the baseball stadium. Softball on the other side. We'll be speaking to Coach Mitch Hannes and Coach Ken Emerson a little bit later on today, as well as some players. Big seasons ahead for the Bulls, and very excited to be able to be here for that. It's just there's a different vibe around here. We know how long Ken Erickson has had this team firing on all cylinders, but the baseball side, I mean, my goodness. Coach Mitch Hannes in year one coming in, I believe, third in the conference, and he didn't even have all his guys. Can you imagine when he gets all of his dudes? This is going to be a really, really good team. No doubt about it. All right. So obviously the big thing yesterday, and we spoke about this, was Zac Robinson getting introduced as the Buccaneers offensive coordinator. And it was great to be able to hear what he had to say, and, listening to him on with our pal Tom Krasnicki yesterday on WDAE. A lot of the things that we heard from our pal Josh Capo on Friday, I mean, Zac Robinson echoed a lot of those sentiments yesterday over at the Avenel Training Center at One Buccaneer Place. He spoke about his relationship with Baker Mayfield. He also spoke about how he keeps in contact, very close contact with Liam Cohen. And I think that is a really good thing, because the best that we've seen this Buccaneer offense, at least in the post-Tom Brady era, was with Liam Cohen at the helm, with him calling plays as the offensive coordinator. And I think that we were wondering last year, is Josh Gazard going to be more like Liam Cohen or more like Dave Canales? And we found out that he was more like Dave Canales. I think Zac Robinson will be the closest thing to Liam Cohen out of the four guys. And it's so crazy. 5 years, 5 offensive coordinators, Leftwich, Canales, Cohen, Gazard, and now Zac Robinson. But the versatility, again, I go back to what Josh Capo said on Friday from Pewter Report, and he quelched any of those fears that anybody had was with, oh, wow, they're so focused on the pistol there in Atlanta. It wasn't so much of like, I'm Zac Robinson, this is my offense, it only works with the pistol. No, he changed his offense, and he adapted and he molded his offense to what seemed to work for his quarterback. Again, Kirk Cousins coming off of that Achilles injury, and you saw it. You saw it when he was under center and he had to go back and drop back and hand some of those balls off to the run. It didn't look smooth early on in his tenure with Atlanta. You saw it. Part of the reason why they really didn't have any, concerns about moving on to Michael Penix Jr. at some point, because of that lack of mobility. And then you bring in Michael Penix Jr., who, whether he was at Indiana or Washington, operated mostly out of the shotgun. So it makes a lot of sense, rather than having a guy, especially in the middle of the year 2 years ago, or just starting fresh and new last year, instead of, all right, let's get this guy under center. Let's kind of work towards his strengths, and let's keep him in the shotgun. Let's have the run off, the read option. Let's have the ability to run the pistol here. So I don't think it was the worst thing in the world. Zac Robinson is a guy, as open-minded as he is, and you heard it again yesterday, trying to put his guys in a position to succeed. And it starts with Baker Mayfield. And he spoke about how good he was throwing the ball, on the run, could be the best quarterback to do that in the National Football League. And when are you doing that, right? You're not necessarily going to do that out of the pistol. That's coming out of, a bootleg. It's coming out of the rollouts, coming out of the play action. And if we can get Baker moving outside of the pocket and being able to keep his eyes downfield, and then maybe if nobody's open, then him being able to run, I mean, isn't that feeding into what Baker does well? We've been clamoring for that on the defensive side of the football. We kept saying with Todd Bowles, we got to make sure that this guy is putting players in a position to succeed. Do we really feel that way? We didn't feel that way defensively. And I think you could say the same thing offensively with Josh Gazard. I feel a lot more comfortable about Zac Robinson being that guy. Now, one of the things that jumped out to me that wasn't the greatest was talking about Mike Evans, and his little son was wearing a Mike Evans jersey, but he didn't sound too optimistic. And I was talking to Coach Bell, one of the security guards, last night at the Yingling Center, and he and I were going back and forth about Mike Evans and his future. And there's just something about it to me where I really would not be surprised if Mike Evans suited up for a different team next year. Now, I was watching Chris Matthews, our buddy, the producer on WDA on the Loose Cannons podcast, and he said that he wouldn't pay Mike Evans that money. I couldn't disagree with him more. I think if you have that money and you spent that on him last year, I don't think he's going to want more money next year. So if you already had that money allotted to him, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to bring 13 back if he's going to play another year or two, because he can still perform at a high level. He's still a danger on third down and in the red zone. So I would not, if you had the choice, let him go. With that being said, Mike's at the point of his career where he gets the option to be able to choose where he wants to go. And I've said this for the last couple of years, whether people want to hear it or not. I mean, as a kid that grew up in Galveston, Texas, and how important that state is to him, would you be really surprised if he suited up for the Cowboys next year? Let's say they lose George Pickens because he was so phenomenal this year. If they lose George Pickens to free agency, it's probably going to be for a boatload of money. The alternative to have Mike Evans with CeeDee Lamb is probably not the worst thing in the world for the Cowboys. And if you're the Houston Texans and you can find a way, knowing that you have Nico Collins there and with CJ Stroud, who has his ups and downs, but Mike Evans going back and playing for Houston, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So I think you're going to give Mike time to make his decision, and you're going to have to wait because, again, he has earned this. He has earned the ability to decide where he wants to go and where he wants to play. That's not going to be great because I know a lot of Buccaneer fans, what do they want? They want to see guys play their entire careers here. But as much as it did happen for Derek Brooks and Rondé Barber, it didn't happen for Warren Sapp, and it didn't happen for John Lynch, and it didn't happen for Doug Williams. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Evans played somewhere else. I hope that he decides to stay here because that offense with Zac Robinson is going to be much better if Mike Evans is going to be there. And just listening to what this guy had to say yesterday, about the play calling and the way that he just seems so open-minded on utilizing different aspects of the offense. That's what you need to see. Let's not forget, going into the 2024 season, when we weren't 100% sure about Liam Cohen, Rachaad White was still the number one back. Guys like Payne Durham were just pass-catching tight ends. They weren't blocking tight ends. And then what did you see? You saw Bucky Irving come in and usurp Rachaad as the RB1. You saw incredible blocking from Payne Durham, right? So a good offensive coordinator is going to bring things out of guys that we didn't know going into the season. And that's another reason why I mentioned this yesterday. Losing a guy like Brian Pacucci, the offensive line coach, that's really no skin off my back whatsoever, because we didn't see that from the offensive line. We didn't see, a situation where it was like, wow, the coaching was really good. You said that about Liam Cohen. You say that about different aspects in all of sports. When a guy does well, a position group does well, man, the coach has done a really good job there. Nobody said that with the offensive line last year. They were kind of holding it together. It wasn't the same strength as it was 2 years ago. Now, how much of that has to do with injuries? How much of that has to do with play calling? I mean, whatever. I'm not putting it all on him, but I just don't think it's that big of a loss. Getting a guy like Zac Robinson here, and I don't quite understand some of the people that aren't thrilled with Zac Robinson and that they think that it's a terrible decision. Who else did you want? If you're not going to get a guy like Mike McDaniel, who ended up going with the Chargers, Zac Robinson was my number 2 choice. I wanted a guy with play calling experience in the National Football League. That's what Zac Robinson has. I wanted a guy that was from the Sean McVay tree. That's what Zac Robinson has. So really, I don't quite understand who else you thought they were going to get. Some people will say Todd Monken. We thought that he was going to go with the Giants with John Harbaugh. He just got the job about a half hour ago. He's the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. So I think this is the perfect fit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's already got a good prior existing relationship with Baker Mayfield. He's got play calling experience at the NFL level. And guys want to prove in that second stop that they're better than what happened in their first gig. And you see it usually with head coaches, right? We saw it with Belichick and Pete Carroll and all these other guys, and even with Todd Bowles, right? Todd Bowles wanted to prove that what happened with the Jets is something that, all right, that wasn't my best efforts. And now with the Buccaneers, he's getting another chance. And a lot of people don't think that he deserves another chance this year, but back against the wall, no excuses. What do you got, Todd Bowles? Well, the first decision that he made as far as bringing in a new member to his offensive staff, I think was an A. I grade it as an A. Zac Robinson, great choice from Todd Bowles. I've got no issues whatsoever. And now they got to get to work building out this offensive, game plan, building out this team. What are you going to do with Rachaad White moving on? What are you going to do? Is Sean Tucker going to be a part of this game plan going forward? What are you going to do with Mike Evans if he comes back, if he doesn't come back? So I said what is going to make you feel better as a Buccaneer fan? Because you just kind of got to let go of the whole, I don't want Todd Bowles. You just got to let it go, man. It's over. He's here. Support the team. Support the team. What makes you feel better about going into the 2026 season? A good offensive play caller. That's what you got from Zac Robinson. Let's go to our guy, Robert Cochran. He's checking in from Oklahoma City. What's up, pal?
What's up, Jay? I just wanted to come on real quick and say that super excited about all the things that Brian Hartline's been doing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Making some splashes. I also want to touch on the Thunder last night. I was at the game. We got upgraded from our season tickets to lower level tickets.
Nice.
That kid Jeremiah Fears at the end of the game. I don't know if you watched or
Yeah,
if
I saw part of it. Yeah.
Oh my God, he is. You don't step to an NBA champ like that.
Right.
You don't step Lou Dort specifically. You don't step to him and expect to get away with it.
Yeah.
It's rookie stuff. We see it across sports. That's what I chop it up to.
How's the weather up there, buddy?
Still icy. No more snowfall since this weekend, but
Good.
we've been in the house this morning at least because we weren't gonna get out there and drive on like inch and a half, maybe 2 inch
Yeah,
thick
don't do that.
ice.
Don't do that, man. Well, you missed the Tampa Bay area with weather like that, pal, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Robert, you're the man, buddy. Go.
That's
I
right,
won't say go Thunder, even though I love you, but go Bulls. We'll talk soon.
Go Bulls, baby.
All right, buddy. The great Robert Cochran chiming in from OKC, big Thunder fan, and also big Bulls guy as well. Torrey Falzone sure hopes 13 comes back. Would love a chance to really see what this offense could do healthy. Yeah, and there's no guarantee because, listen, injuries are part of the game. And we spoke about that earlier this year. There's no guarantee that just because it's not like a quota. Well, you missed this many man games in the first half of the season. That means you're going to be extremely healthy for the second half. It doesn't go like that. Football is a very dangerous sport. It's a very violent sport, and you're going to get jacked up. And we see with the San Francisco 49ers, they're putting a lot of effort in to figure out what the heck is going on. This is why you need depth. And you there's a luck aspect of it too. You got to make sure that your best players don't get hurt. I mean, look at San Francisco. Did they really have a chance to acquit themselves in the postseason, knowing that George Kittle was out and Fred Warner was out and Christian McCaffrey was out, and they didn't get anything from Brandon Ayuk this year? Not really, right? I mean, it's just as much as you want to talk about next man up mentality and you want to say, oh, you got to have depth. Shit, man, if your top guys are getting hurt, you're kind of screwed. And even if those guys were all healthy, I mean, who knows if they would have been able to beat the Seahawks anyway. We had a great chat yesterday with Rob Motti from the AP. Seattle just looks like they're a monster right now. They could beat you in so many different ways. And Rob is one of the guys that thinks that even though New England has not really shown itself too well offensively in the postseason, that they can really step up and be more of the offensive threat that they were in the regular season with Drake May, who was an MVP finalist. I don't know, because you're not going up against a softie with Mike McDonald and that Seattle defense. I think they're going to really struggle against Seattle. And I think this is going to be, and like I think he said yesterday, the last 3 underdogs won. I don't see it this time. I think Seattle is just too much. I want to answer this question. Tampa Nike Fitness on Twitter. How do you feel about Panarin potentially going to Tampa? Apparently the Bolts are a rumored destination, and I know him and Cooch are best friends. Thank you for asking this question, because I've been trying to do the math the last 3 days on how this would happen. Because in my head, I put together this crazy freaking trade for the Lightning and the Rangers on what it would take to bring Vinny Trocheck and Artemi Panarin to the Lightning. And listen, Panarin is a unrestricted free agent after this year. He makes over $11 million. He's one of the most expensive players in the game. And Vinny Trocheck is a right-handed shot that is a really good face-off guy, and that's something that the Lightning just don't have. We talk a lot about Steven Stamkos and what they lost with him on the power play, but he was also a guy that did a really good job of working in the face-off dot as well. So the numbers have to match up. That's the scary thing, is trying to bring those guys in, because you have to match the dollar. Because with all of these injuries with the Tampa Bay Lightning, they've had to really use a lot of that cap space that they've not had in years past. But you'd have to send some big names out if you were going to bring either one of those guys in. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but I think a guy that could get moved in the next couple of weeks before the trade deadline is Nick Paul. Nick Paul is a guy that is a 3rd or 4th line player on this Tampa Bay Lightning team, but he's a 2nd line center. Problem is that the Lightning have arguably a top 3 2nd line center in Anthony Cirelli. I said for years, for the Lightning to really be as good as they need to be, he needs to be like a David Krejci, what he was with the Boston Bruins. And that's what we've seen. I'm looking out right now at USF. And yes, I know by that dude running, Kevin Kiermaier is here. That is definitely Kevin Kiermaier. Here, I got to show you guys. We'll talk about this in a second. That guy in the white and the black, can you see him in center field? Just the way he's standing there with his hands on his knees, and just the way I saw him go run after this ball, that's definitely Kevin Kiermaier. And he's working with one of the outfielders there at USF. Bro, that's crazy. Oh, wait. Damn. I wanted to show you, but it wasn't a football. I think that was KK. I'm pretty sure that's Kevin Kiermaier. I can just tell by his gait. I can tell the way he's running. It's pretty funny. He's too far away. KK! Yeah, I could see him now. That's definitely got to be him. Yeah. So I've been trying to look and see if, excuse me, let me fix this up again. If Panarin and Trocheck would happen. Nick Paul would have to be one of the guys that's traded. So does Oliver Bjorkstrand. Maybe one of the defensemen, maybe a guy like Connor Geekie. That's what you have to think of. Because you look at who are the free agents, who are the guys that are going to be back. Radish, we spoke about yesterday. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's making less than $1 million. He's going to get a huge pay increase, $5, $6, $7 million. You're going to pay $3.5 more to JJ Moser because of his extension, $2.5 less because of Ryan McDonough and his extension. Yeah, that's definitely Kevin Kiermaier. So it's dollar in, dollar out type of thing. If I'd have to take one, I would probably say Trocheck, because he's got term after this year. He can help you. But then, again, Trocheck's another one of those guys. He's kind of a first line, second line center. So he's kind of redundant as well. I don't know if the Rangers would retain any of that money. If they did, then maybe we'd have that discussion. That's the way it would have to be, because you used to be able to have it where you could get multiple teams in the trade and they could retain, like somebody could retain 50% of the guys, somebody else could retain 25%. And they've gotten rid of that. And the Lightning were one of the teams that did that. So only the team that you're trading can retain the salary. So we'll see. I wouldn't hate it, because here's the thing. You trade a guy like Panarin, he helps you out on the power play, and you could put him in that old Stamkos spot. That would be huge. He doesn't have the big slapper like a Stammer, like a Zibanejad, like a Pasternak, but he's got the ability to – he has a slap shot that is not bad, and he's a playmaker too, so we could do a little bit of everything. I would love to see Panarin here. I'd love to see Trocheck here. If anybody's going to be able to find a way, it is certainly a guy like Julien Brisebois. I wanted to talk about this because this was a hot topic of conversation yesterday. Isn't it kind of crazy how everybody is defending a guy like Bill Belichick now? Everybody keeps talking about Bill, and he didn't get voted into the Hall of Fame on his, first ballot. And it's different. You need 40 out of the 50 votes to be voted in. This isn't the same type of thing that we're talking about with players. I'm not going to lose my mind over it. He's going to make it eventually. And it is kind of funny how there's so many different people that are like up in arms about this. The selection process when it comes to the Hall of Fame, when it comes to the Pro Bowl, when it comes to the majority of anything in the NFL is an absolute joke, and it doesn't even matter. We still love it. The NFL is such a microcosm of kind of life, right? You can bitch and moan and complain about all these different certain things, but we're still going to consume the product. The selection processes for all these different things are so jacked up. The officiating is terrible. The scheduling is weird. You get so many injuries. Isn't it wild that the NFL just keeps getting bigger and better, and it brings in more and more money? Yet they do so many different things that just pisses people off every single year. It is so ironic. And it's just like, yeah, whatever. We'll take it. We don't care. Bring it in. More NFL for me. Was it robbery? Yeah. Should he have made the Hall of Fame? No doubt. No doubt. He should have been there. But he's not. So I don't know. Again, I'm not going to lose my mind over it. He's going to get in eventually. They need to change the way people vote to get in. 40 out of 50. And I'm sure that there was people out there that were looking at different players and trying to get some of these veterans in, and they looked at their contemporaries and said, everybody's going to vote for Belichick. I don't need to use my vote on him. That's fine. I know that there's probably some coaches or some people that were voting out there that were upset about Spygate and Deflategate and all those different things. I mean, I don't know. You could not be thrilled with that. But do you honestly think that those are do you think that really robbed him from being one of the greatest coaches of all time? I mean, he's got the second most wins behind Don Shula. I don't think he's done. I think that Bill Belichick will be back one day. I thought that he was using the last couple of years on TV, going on Pat McAfee, trying to restore his image so that he can get a gig. And he did that with North Carolina. It was an absolute failure in year one. And a lot of the discussion about Bill Belichick in the last couple of months. And that's why I think it's so ironic that people are defending him now. All everybody was doing the last couple of months was just shitting on Bill Belichick for how bad North Carolina was and his 24-year-old girlfriend. And now everybody wants to act like they're, a huge Bill Belichick fan. It's funny how sports – everybody wants to die on certain hills, and then something else comes about, and it's like, let's shake our fist at the cloud and let's be so mad at this. It's comical. It really is. He'll get in. Yeah, it sucks that he didn't get in ballot number one, and hopefully when things like this happen, it leads to a change. That's what you can ask for. And then you go from there. Sorry, Bill. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be just fine. All right. Also, did you guys see this news about the Tampa Bay Rays and how much this new stadium could cost? I saw this posted last night by our good friend Colleen Wright from the Tampa Bay Times, and my jaw dropped to the floor. I could not believe this was the figure. This was the headline on the Tampa Bay Times. Again, support local, support our friends at the Tampa Bay Times. The Rays Stadium at Tampa's Hillsborough College could cost upwards of $2.3 billion. $2.3. And you know what happens when you have a figure like this at the beginning? It's usually on the low end. And that is why there are people on the county commissioners board saying we need an economic study on the proposal. Yeah, no doubt. I would want one too. But this figure that was told to a Tampa Bay Times reporter by Tampa Sports Authority CEO Eric Hart is $1 billion more than the Rays had proposed to build a stadium in St. Petersburg 2 years ago. And remember, they had that special tax set aside. That's why it was so appealing to Pinellas County and St. Petersburg, because you have a tax built in for things like this. We don't have that on the Tampa side. So to think that it's not the same and that it's actually $1 billion more, this is the reason why I told everybody out there, don't count your chickens before they hatch. We are still so far away from getting shovels in the ground. I am not letting myself get to that point of optimism. I am not letting myself get to the point where I still believe that this is a possibility. I'm sorry. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. But I've been saying this for the last 10 years. If you had to tell me to put my money on it, bet my house on it, what's going to happen with the Rays? I think they end up moving. I really do. I think they end up moving. I don't know if they ever find a way to build a stadium here. All we're doing is just complaining about all these different things, and we're throwing numbers out there, and everybody that says, oh, we could just do a stadium here, they're not the people that are putting the money where their mouth is. And you can talk about having all these private equity firms and having all these people join in and spend billions of dollars, man. I don't know. I am not too optimistic. And again, usually when you hear about numbers at the beginning of, even before construction is even thought of, what happens? That's on the low end. And this is something that we spoke about last year when it came to the proposed site there in St. Petersburg. Who was going to take care of the overruns? You don't think there's going to be overruns here? This is what Ken Babby, the Rays CEO, had to say on a recent episode of the Hunks Talking Junk podcast. We're going to do our part. We're going to write a big check. We already wrote a big one to buy the team. We're going to write another one to build the ballpark. To buy the team was $1.7 billion. You're going to write a bigger check to build a stadium? He went after that and he said, but we need a great public/private partnership where the community, whether it be the county or the city or both, the state, all come together to build something really special here for Tampa Bay. That is how we're thinking about it. Remember, last March, the Rays walked away from a $6.5 billion development that included a $1.3 billion stadium. But here is the caveat. St. Petersburg and Pinellas County agreed to pay more than $700 million for the stadium and surrounding roads and sewers. What is Tampa and Hillsborough County going to give as far as that 2.3 billion. Are they going to give more money? Can they give more money? Pinellas and St. Petersburg were giving way more money than I think you're going to get on this side of the bay for something that's going to cost $1 billion less. If anything, you would need the city and the county to spend more money than what they were on the other side of the bay. I don't know, man. I mean, it just seems like a pipe dream. And I know everybody wants to be happy and everybody wants to be optimistic, but it's just like it's this 750-pound gorilla that's just sitting there. And I think everybody just wants to, kind of, oh, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. Do we really know that? Are Rays fans ever truly going to get a legitimate baseball product here in the Tampa Bay area? And here's the thing. You're spending that money on a stadium. You're not spending it on the team, are you? So for all the people out there that immediately thought, well, Stu's gone, new owners, we're going to start spending with the big boys. Has that happened? You're still shopping at the bargain bin. You're bringing in Cedric Mullins, and you're bringing in Steven Matz. You're trading Lau. You're trading Lowe. You're trading Shane Baz. I mean, what's changed with the Rays? Seems to be the same old Rays with me. And we're going to hope that the pitching is better. We're going to hope that the defense is better. We're going to hope that some of these young players come together. And listen, you're going to go and hope that a guy like Gavin Lux is going to be the guy that the Dodgers drafted in the first round, and his partnership with Carson Williams to go with Junior Caminero and Aranda and Yandy. Yeah, that gives me a lot of faith. Those guys too. I think it's one of the better infields possibly in baseball, but you need those guys to stay healthy. You need Carson Williams in year one as the legit starter to be not just a prospect, a guy that's a legit. You need him to burst onto the scene just like Junior Caminero did. Gavin Lux, your hope. There's a lot of hope. Where's the known commodities for the Rays? That's the thing we got to hope that we're getting, right? And it's the hope that kills you. What happens with Shane McClanahan? Does he come back and is he the ace? Can he stay healthy? No Taj, no Baz. Where's Ryan Pepio at? You're looking at this team, there's still a lot more question marks. And for many, many years, it was like, take the over with the Rays. Take the over. But now it's just like, how optimistic are you about the Rays going into the season? And again, we started this conversation talking about the stadium and the money. If they can't find the money about the situation with the stadium, where's the money for the players? This is going to be the same thing. How long are the Rays going to be shopping in the discount aisle? Until you do that, man, where the Dodgers are spending all this money and they're deferring. Like, why can't the Rays defer payments, right? All these different things. Like the Dodgers are doing these things to defer payments. And they're doing it with all these different people, and they just keep kicking the can down the road. Why can't the Rays do that? Why can't they defer payments? You would think, like, that's the thing. That's what gives me, I guess, some type of hope. If the Rays get shovels in the ground and they're building a stadium, can they start signing free agents and deferring some of these payments? So that in 5, 6, 7 years down the road, when that bill comes due, you can have that money that you got from a new stadium, maybe a new TV deal. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Sorry about the little lag. Doing the best I can with the USF Wi-Fi here. as far as the Bucks goes, we talked a little bit about it before. Some good news for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Who's ready for this good news? Victor Hedman back on the ice at Bolts practice today in Brandon in a red no contact jersey. Um, these guys are getting closer and closer to returning. And listen to this. Here is the lines from practice today. Hagel, Sorelli, and Kucherov. No surprise there. Gensel, James, and Gonsalves. That's the same as well. Gergensons, Gordon, Holmberg. And then the fourth line of Bjorkstrand, Paul, and then Finley and Douglas working in. Defensively, Moser and Radish staying together. And then how about this one? Ryan McDonough and Eric Chernak together. Declan Carlisle and Max Crozier, and then Victor Hedman and Max Groshev. You would have to think if Ryan McDonough can go tomorrow night, he'll be in there with Eric Chernak. I don't think that he would be out there skating with Cherney if he wasn't kind of ready to go. And again, Lightning back action tomorrow night at Benchmark International Arena against the Winnipeg Jets, one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. The Bolts sitting at 33-14-4 after that loss in Columbus. On Saturday night, they bounced back with a big 2-0 win against the Utah Mammoth on Monday night. So, yeah, Ryan McDonough. Even and if he's not in the lineup tomorrow night, you would think he's going to participate in the outdoor game. I'm hoping that there's some semblance of a media skate. I'm ready for the outdoor game, and I know a lot of people are too. And you look at the forecast over these next couple of days. I'm happy for the league, and I'm happy for the Lightning. It would have been terrible if it was 81 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, but it looks like everything is going to work out in our favor here. I hope you got tickets. I'm still seeing people out there saying, oh, who's got tickets? Man, if you're asking at this point, you're going to be probably in a difficult spot for sure. But it's going to be a momentous occasion, and I'm sure a lot of people out there saw. I'll pull it up on here. What the rink is going to look like. Benny Pierce. There we go. Look at how cool this thing is. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it, but if you haven't, look at this bad boy. Look at that, man. That's from our guy, Ben Pierce. How cool does that look? And all the different Easter eggs in there, Thunderbug Cove and, Vinnick's Voyage and Kucherov Cove and Hat Trick Hill, the Bears Den. Like it's awesome. Boston Harbor, Tampa Bay, Lightning Lagoon. And you see where the teams are going to come out. And it looks like the Lightning are going to be coming out from the lower right-hand side. That's where the Buccaneers usually come out. There at Raymond James Stadium. The Bruins will come out from your lower left-hand corner. So if you're looking at this stadium, the ice is going left to right. So that would be left is north and right is south. So the left side, that's where the pirate ship is. The right side. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Is that the pirate ship on the other side? Oh, wow. Okay. So am I backwards here? The pirate ship on the other side? Okay, yeah, I'm backwards here. Okay. Yes. So my apologies. That is going to be on the other end of the end zone. So that's the north side. So it's running from left to right, south to north. Okay. So if that's the case, then they're coming out the opposite side of the. I don't know if this is right. Because if that's the case on the right side of where you're looking at this and where the looks like the players are coming in. So if you're looking at the stadium from this perspective, let's say you're in the press box, right, where you're usually seeing the cameras. That's where you see the tunnels come out on the lower left-hand and lower right-hand side, right? But if that's the case, usually that pirate ship is on the left, which is in the north end of the end zone. So this looks flipped to me. We'll see. I don't know if this is necessarily right. I don't know if anybody's pointed this out. I don't know. Nobody's brought this up yet. I'm trying to look into the I might be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong though. I've seen enough games in that building to know. I don't know. We'll see. But the big thing with John Cooper and what he said over these last couple of days with this team is getting to the Olympic break. He's not looking at it like getting to the game outside and looking at the stadium series. Let's get to the Olympic break. And for him and for a lot of guys on this team, and this is where playing in the Four Nations definitely helps because you have the ability to use some of the experience from last year. Because I remember being at practice sometimes, and the only guys that weren't out there were Gensel, Cirelli, Hagel, and Point. That was it. And even Coop took some time off, and they kind of let the assistant coaches and Jeff Halpern and all those guys do their thing. Yeah, but it's a different ball game here, and we don't know who's going to. Because listen, the Four Nations. I mean, that was one thing, but now you look at all the guys that are involved, all the different Olympians that the Tampa Bay Lightning have, and we don't know who's going to be able to go deep. Like, we're assuming that the U.S. and Canada are going to go deep, but these international tournaments, especially when there's more than 4 teams, you just never know. You never know. You run into a hot goalie, just crazy things have happened. Remember Latvia years ago, the Czech Republic, Canada or U.S., they run into a little bit of a buzzsaw. The wrong guy gets hurt. The goalie doesn't have a great day. You never know. And then those guys are coming home from Milan a lot earlier than we thought. Now, in the long run, that might be better for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But for them, I know that will absolutely just crush them. And for Team USA, you look at a couple guys that aren't going in Jason Robinson and Cole Caulfield. I mean, those are 2 of the biggest goal scorers that we see in the NHL, 2 guys that are not going to be representing the red, white, and blue in Milan. Hopefully they have enough firepower. But with that being said, those guys are not going to be playing top minutes for the U.S. They're just not. You're not playing over Eichel. You're not playing over Austin Matthews. You're not playing over Jack Hughes, right? Do you trust those guys more than a Jake Gensel? No. So as much as everybody looks at it now, you can bitch and moan all you want, but it's not about putting the top 12 scorers on your team. It's about building the best team. And I've been saying this shit from the beginning. Oh, well, this guy's got to make it because of all the goals, and Connor Bedard has to go because he scores all this goal, and this and that. I'm like, no, bro. Cirelli and Hagel are there. Don't forget, we've been talking about this since the beginning of the season, and we showed you guys here on the show. When all these experts from TSN and Sportsnet were like, oh, well, this is what the rosters are going to be. And nobody was mentioning Cirelli and Hagel. I was like, what is wrong with you people? And then as the year went on, Hagel was starting to get some love, right? Because he started out a little bit slow, and then he started scoring pretty much at a point per game clip like we saw last year. And then some people had Hagel, but nobody had Cirelli. And then the rosters got announced, and everybody, oh, yeah, Cirelli and Hagel had him in since day one. Nah, not so much. Not quite, buddy. Not quite. Wanted to show some love real quick to our friends, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC. All your residential and commercial needs. Our guy, Hammer, my guy, Russ, he's the best, man. Support local. If you have a plot of land, you're looking for a new custom build. If you are looking for kitchen renovations or bathroom renovations, just something new at your house, again, it's your home. These are the guys you want to hit up. TheHonestHammer.com, TheHonestHammer@gmail.com. Send them a message. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. Get a discount. Everybody is looking to save some cash in some form or fashion. This is the way to do it. And then, of course, EverHealth, everhealth.org. 17 different locations in Pinellas County. The EverHealth Injury Report every single Thursday at 12:30 with our guy, Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. He joins us on the program tomorrow. We'll be live from Benchmark International Arena. Everything from the cradle to the grave, these guys. They're just, it's the new form of healthcare, a sliding scale for the uninsured. They take all kinds of healthcare. And the EverHealth Institute, again, I've said this multiple times, very similar to the broadcasting school that I went to, that hands-on training that you need, if you want to get out there. And for many years, people looked down at trade schools and things like that, where you had that, hands-on opportunity to learn. instead of just getting like a basic normal college education. Like, no, I couldn't disagree with that more. This is the place to be, no doubt about it. David Terry, Jay Bird, looks like we're gonna have to dress like an Eskimo for the outdoor game. Yeah, and I want a lot of people to take pictures and tag me in it. I want to see where you guys are watching the games at. And Benny, I think they are firing the cannons at Ray J as the Lightning score. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I really hope that everybody is able to get out there to Raymond James Stadium and pack the building. There's going to be a lot of Boston fans too. So it kind of is what it is. I'm not going to be upset about that. I rarely get mad about, opposing fans. People want to get bent out of shape. That's never going away. It's going to be here forever. This is a melting pot. It's one of the greatest melting pots in the country, in the world. You're going to have opposing fans be at Ray J and be at the Trop and be at Benchmark International Arena. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. And when you do that, you can rub it in their face when you win. And we are working on a DT, a Wrecking Crew hoodie. That is for sure. All right, finally, the 24 hours here at USF. I am here today broadcasting. The players are coming off of the field. Let me see if I can get KK. There we go. Look at that. KK putting in the work. Know how to get the video. Kevin Kiermaier out here doing his thing. USF. So last night, I tell you, I was about to rip the USF women's basketball team a new one. 42 points late in the fourth quarter. No emotion, no energy, no gusto whatsoever. It was driving me insane. I was like, who's going to step up for this team? And they're down 11 with just under 5 minutes left. And I'm thinking, all right, this is sucked. Show me something for 5 minutes. Give me 5 good minutes of basketball and you can come away with the win. And that's exactly what they did. They were down 11, then they were down 9, and then they're down 2 late. They get the ball to Carla Burrito down low. She bullers her way to the basket. Layup, ties the game at 53. They go to overtime. And then Eden Battle just takes over. This young lady, and it's very poetic. I said it on my Recher's Rapid Reaction last night. It's very poetic that the girl that scored 6 points in overtime, her last name was Battle, because that's what they did. And they're still trying to figure it out. And so is Coach Michelle Woods-Baxter. She's trying to figure out how to push, how to pull. Jose he was mean, man. He was ferocious, and he's also been doing it for a long time. Michelle's got a little bit of a different demeanor, and she's got to know when to push and when to pull, and that kind of thing. It comes with experience. And I like that they were able to dig deep. I don't like what their record is on the road. They have to get a whole heck of a lot better. But if Charlotte can beat East Carolina, then USF can beat East Carolina. They can vault up to second in the conference. I still got faith that they can figure it out. The men are back in action tonight on the road. Make sure you tune in and check them out. No Lightning hockey because Lightning are in action tomorrow. I am here at the USF Baseball and Softball Complex. We have Media Day with USF Baseball with Coach Mitch Hannes and a couple of players, and then USF Softball with Coach Ken Erickson and a couple of players as well. So that should be fun. That should be good. And that's the reason why we did the show from 11 to 12 today. A lot of great things happening here at USF. And to be able to see Rob Higgins and Derek Brooks out there, they're pretty much at every game. I've tried to go as many games as possible when I'm in town and when I don't have baseball practice. And you just look at all the different coaches. And Coach Steve Bradley, the golf coach, was there last night. And you look at co-ed cheer and what they were able to do, winning a national championship again, and Coach Hannes and Coach Erickson. There's just a lot of good things. And once this school gets into a different conference, I mean, we're going to be having a conversation about this being one of the best athletic programs in the country. I already think it is, but it's hard because there's a ceiling being the American. That's just the reality of the situation. But we got the right coaches, man. We got the right coaches. We got the right people around here. We got Rob Higgins. We got Derek Brooks, my guy Justin, who was a longtime marketing guy with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's now working with USF. It's a good thing. It really is a good thing. Tampa Nike Fitness. I'm from Canada, and you should have heard TSN and Sportsnet talking about Tampa. After the first 6 games of the season, they were saying Kucherov might get dealt. Here's the thing about that, and this is another topic of conversation that we have to kind of understand, is that Nikita Kucherov is a free agent after next season. Nikita Kucherov, a free agent after next season. What happens with Nikita Kucherov? Do they hold on to him? I think so. I'm taking another video of Nikita Kucherov. Had to take another video of Kevin Kiermaier talking with Coach Mitch Hannes. I want to get Coach Hannes in there as well. But that's the thing with Nikita Kucherov, our free agent after next season. He makes $9.5 million in his early 30s. What happens there, right? That's another thing that Julian has to keep in mind. And I mentioned that if there's a guy to get traded, it could be a Nick Paul, but he's only making a little over $3 million a year. But he's signed for the next 5. So could you see a guy like Nick Paul moved out? Could you see a guy like Eric Chernak moved out? I don't know. And we had the conversation yesterday about if Darren Radish was to stay, how would that go? Because it's not as easy as, well, just bring Ratty back. Bjorkstrand's leaving. Well, you got to replace Bjorkstrand then too. And you also need a place to play him. And if you're going to pay the guy that much money, he's going to be a first. Like, you're not going to pay Darren Radish a $7 million a year contract, maybe a $5 or even a $6 million a year contract for the next 4 or 5 years, and then play him on your third D pair when Victor Hedman and Ryan McDonough are healthy. The only way that you pay him that money, and that's what people need to realize, if Julian Brisebois gets to the point where you're paying him that money, you're saying that you're comfortable for the next 5 years or 4 years with him and JJ Moser being your number 1 pair. And then you have McDonough and Chernak for the next 3. And then you have Hedman and Dastu. But what happens with Crozier? What happens with Lilleberg? Right? Do you move Chernak and then put Dastu with something? Right? So that's the type of conversation that a guy like Julian Brisebois has to have with the people around him, with his scouts. Where do we go from here with the blue line? And when we asked Julian Brisebois, well, what do you do? What do you do when all these guys are healthy? And he goes, that is a Cooper problem. That is why John Cooper gets paid the big bucks. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me here on this Power Hour. It's been a lot of fun here at USF as guys are in there now taking batting practice. We'll talk to Coach Mitch Hannes probably in about 15, 20 minutes or so. Kenny Kiermaier, are you going back out there again? Nah, you think he's done for the day. KK was out here, so yeah, it's a little brisk. I love baseball weather like this because it's not bitter cold. It's just a little cold. And you can play in here and get some work done. Baseball, softball, we'll talk to Coach Mitch Hannes. We'll talk to Coach Ken Erickson as well. So make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Recher, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube. A big thank you as well to Honest Hammer this way and Everett Health as well. Go check out those guys and support local, man. Support local. The rest of the week, Thursday, tomorrow, live from Benchmark International Arena, Ed Encina is going to join us. Dr. Carlos Rodriguez is going to join us. On Friday, Eric Erlinson is going to join us from lightninginsider.com. And we'll probably have a Royal Rumble roundtable as well. We'll see what Corey Long and David Shealy and Matt Matera are doing. Ed Encina, maybe he'll pop on for that as well. Get JC Allen. JC's we got to keep it to 10 seconds or less. JC be going on the diatribes, baby. He letting us know his whole feeling on the WWE. I love it, man. I love it. It's great stuff. But yeah, we'll probably do that on Friday as well. And then this weekend's going to be nuts. with practice on Saturday at Ray J, and then Sunday, the game stadium series. All right. Love you guys. See you tomorrow at noon at the arena right here on the Jay Rich podcast.